Okay, so I'm going to show you the materials that I'm going to be using for this demo. So this is going to be mono printing, and you can kind of see how, here, you can see my stand. Very cool. Okay, so for this demonstration, and probably for your, when you do this as well, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need a jelly plate. Now I have two different sizes. I have half sheets and I have full sheets. Honestly, it really doesn't matter which one you're doing, because when you create your mono print, it depends on what you're going to be using it for. Are you using it for top layer, decorations, or are you using it as your base layer? Okay, so we have our jelly plate. Okay, start from here. Paper towels that are wet. Okay, these are great for wiping up stuff. My paint. Now I'm going to be using, as you can tell from the tape, that is temper paint. I'm going to use temper paint because honestly, it's a lot easier to clean up. Okay, you can use acrylic, but it's a little bit more challenging to clean up. And I also have some water, okay, some spray. I'm not spraying anybody with this, okay? But if I want to hydrate or make it a little bit more wet, because I feel like it's getting a little dry, I can do that. Paintbrush. Paintbrushes are great for doing a couple of different things. Now for this demo, I'm going to also be showing how to draw and do things on there, so I have a couple of drawing mediums. Sprayer, okay. This is going to be my stencil, okay. You are going to learn how to make your own stencil, but there are also a couple of pre-cut ones, okay. Pre-made stamps, okay, and texture pieces, okay. This I'm going to be using as imprinting and stamping, but it's also going to be used for covering over masking, okay, which you'll learn how to do that as well, okay. So those are all the materials that I'm going to be using. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this jelly plate. So here's the deal with this jelly plate. They are made of gelatin, hence the name jelly plate, okay. The ones that I got actually are kind of local. They're from Warren, a company in Warren that makes and creates these, which is pretty cool. So when you get them, you're going to notice that they have two sides of plastic on them. They are like this because they are very fragile. Okay? I don't want you bending them to the point where you break them, or you're stabbing through them, or saying, oh, I really want to see how much can I break this. Please do not break it, okay? Because it would be awful if you have to purchase a new one, okay? So when we get them, what you want to do is you want to take off one side, okay? You will always keep a second one on the other side. Now when you wash these or clean these off, just run them under warm or hot water, take a sponge and just kind of wash them off, and you take this part and this part, okay, just like that, and put it into the drying rack, all right? When it's dry, I will take them out, lay it straight over, and put it back on the shelf, okay? Okay, so here we go. We're first going to talk about how much ink you want to use for this, okay? Now I cannot stress that you want very, very little amount of ink, okay? I know that with our printmaking, with our stamps, a lot of people were like, oh, I'm just going to put the ink on and that will be it. I don't just want to glob it on. No, this is not, it will not come out and will not have a nice look if you are globbing ink on, okay? So it's very little. So I'm going to show you. So we're going to put a little bit of paint. Oh my heavens, it's going to come out. Never good when you have a demo and your paint doesn't want to come out. Well, second option is open it up. That's what I said. Sometimes the paintbrushes are very useful. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of paint. Just a little bit. Alright, so I'll make this one. Okay, plenty there. Okay, now I'm going to take my brayer. I'm going to go all over, just press this around. Now notice it's very thin, okay? That's what you kind of want. You don't want it too thick, right? If it's too thick, you're going to have a really bad print, okay? Nice and smooth. Alright, so first thing we're going to talk about is imprinting, actually pressing into it. So you're going to take any kind of material and you can imprint, and it will take off the stuff. So I'm going to take this. See how all of a sudden it's starting to pull up some of this? Alright, so that's imprinting. I'm going to take a thin piece of paper, place it on. see it. Okay, pull it off. Now, a lot of you are probably saying, oh, that's awful. It's not all coming out. Okay, so it didn't come all out. So what? Sometimes the best art is not perfect, okay? And all of a sudden people are like, oh, that's awesome. And you're like, well, it's not perfect. Imperfect is perfect, okay? And plus, another way that you might want to, what you can consider is adding some water. If you're using tempera, it's water-based, okay? You'll rehydrate it. Very cool, all right? So I'm going to add a little bit more paint. Okay. I'm going to add this time. If these are clogged, use a toothpick to open it, okay? Put some purple in. Okay? Yeah, there we go. All right. Go in. That's them, mixing. Okay, cool. There we are. All right, so next layer. Now this is kind of a multi-layered process, which is really cool. Okay, so the next layer, so we did was imprinting. Next we're going to do something called masking. Okay, so masking is covering something. It might be a stencil, or it might be a cutout. Okay, so let's say if I cut out heart and I put it straight on, that's masking. So I'm going to put this backwards because it's going to print the other way. Okay, so I'm going to mask that, and then I'm going to scratch into. We love Sgraffito. Sgraffito's awesome, okay? So I'm going to just draw in some of the stuff, okay? Sgraffito can be done by adding in something kind of like dull like this. Or maybe you take brushes and you can, use a couple of different techniques to go through. All right, I'm going to take this and I print it on top. Oops. Here we are. Now you could probably get, depending on what colors you might use, you might be able to do 2 layers, or you may be able to do 3 layers. And you're probably noticing that I'm using this thin paper. It's great because it gets all into the nooks and crannies. Okay, and let's see. Let's pull this on off. Oh, it's so cool. Check them beans out. Very, very cool. Okay. Another thing is called a ghost print. Okay. Ghost print is like another print. All right. Ghost print is actually a second print. All right. I'm going to actually use this paper, and I'm going to put this up here. So I might be able to put another print on top of that. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. So if I was using this to create different things, I might say, you know what, I really like the idea of making this one of my top layers of decorating my base layer. Okay, so that means that I would maybe design a background maybe with something else. Okay, and I'd cut out of this or use this somewhere in my project. Okay, you can also make the little bit larger stamp. Okay, to kind of create there too. Now I'm actually want to take and I'm going to put one more layer on top, but I'm going to use a lot of purple. So you can see kind of what 3 layers looks like. Remember, little amounts of this, okay? So I'm going to show you what just having something that's not fully on. I'm not going to use my brayer, I'm just going to use the fan brush. Okay. Here we are, beautiful. Give it some real texture. Cool. Okay. You know what? For now, I'm gonna press into. Okay. Imprint. Cool. And then I'm gonna cover. There we go. All right. So we're gonna do this one right here. So I've got one. Now this is masking it. Okay. Similar to the way that this was working. Okay, so this is just a stencil, but another word for it is mask. Okay, I'm going to take this, peel that off. Okay, then I'm going to peel this one off, and I'm going to use this one up here. It's almost like you can use you know, create two images, two opposite images, which is really cool. Okay. Ooh, that's cool. Oh, got a splash over there. Now, what can I do with this? Okay, there's so many things that you can do. You could probably cut out, you know, different things from here. Maybe this, you know, doesn't look like much, but maybe you're building like a landscape, okay? And you're like, wow, this might be really cool for if I cut out like little section of this to be, I don't know, maybe on a boat, okay? Maybe the side of a boat. Or maybe this looks kind of like a mountain, like I can cut this out to be a mountain. Maybe I can cut parts of this out to be part of a dress. Or I could say, you know what, this might be really neat if this was my background, okay, my base, and I designed on top of it, okay? So I'm gonna just move this over. Okay. So how would that actually be? Well, if this was my base, maybe I can say, oh, you know what, I can put designs in here. All right. Now, when you're doing this, most mediums will go on here, like drawing mediums, okay? So I can put designs in, I can do more details. Okay. And this could be my base. Okay. Anything's possible. Doodle. Maybe I might want to, yes, I'm going to rip this. Okay. Okay. And say, you know, this would be really cute if I made this a house. Have a roof. Kind of really neat. Look how rip stuff. Okay. I could even maybe put something behind it, like a darker piece of paper, and then I can write up on the top, you know, like no place like home, and make this look like a little home. Now, when you're gluing this stuff down, okay, you can use the glue sponge, by the way. All right, so you just take the sponge, you know, flip it over, take your paper, you know, go right on there, glue it down, okay? How cool would that be? All right, maybe if I had some more green paper over here, kind of finish this up. I could add different things on here. I could cut out magazines, you know, and put different words up in here. See? All of a sudden, it didn't look like much, but all this texture paper and all this cool prints, kind of unique, okay? So, what do we do with all the rest of this stuff? Okay, so I'm gonna put this to the side. Here comes the cleanup part. See that? All right, this is an amazing thing to have. Easy cleanup for a lot of different things, okay? Even when you have your stamp, you can clean it up. You go through. Doesn't have to worry about going back to the sink. Okay, just comes off really nice. Obviously, paintbrushes would probably need to be cleaned up. Okay, put that back on. Even here, I'm just taking, like, if you had this, just wash it down. See how easy this stuff is when you use tempera paint? It's amazing. Okay, that's pretty clean. All right, and cleaning up your space. Now, you can use, by the way, a mess mat underneath here. Okay, that helps a lot. Ooh, even like this. This is cool. This helps too. Okay. And that, you probably could even just do this. Wipe it down with a paper towel. Okay. Dry it off, and you're good to go. Okay. All right. Yes. This is a messy project, okay? There's a lot of little pieces, but honestly, you can get amazing things out of this, okay? This was me playing around with some of the stuff that I was doing, okay? Lots of cool things you can do with this, okay? And that's about it. All right, in order to find all your mono printing supplies, you're gonna need to go toward the door, okay? Now, a lot of the stuff is in the back, but there are some materials that are not here. Okay, so for example, the actual supplies, the paint that we're going to be using is not here. All right, you'd actually have to walk way over there, okay, to go get the paint. Okay, so what is back here? So as we can see up here, these are the jelly plates. All right, as you can see, they're nice and neatly stacked there. On them, they have plastic sheets on the top and the bottom. Okay, they need to stay there the whole time. It gives them a stability. All right. Over here, you have different things that you can press in or lay on top of, and do different types of techniques with the jelly print over here. Okay, you also find that there's acetate sheets that you can cut into to make your own stencils. All right, they're all back here. Now, in order to clean this stuff off, all right, I'm gonna come over here. All right. So, in order to clean off the jelly plates, now one thing is you're always going to have one side of the plastic sheet always on. Okay, the other side you're just going to hold on. You're going to run it under hot water. Okay, don't try cold water. It's going to take a while to clean off that paint. You're going to use a sponge. Okay, and just carefully, clean off the jelly plate. When you're done, these are the brown racks. So what you have to do is I'm going to grab one over here. You're going to put it back here, okay? Now, yes, you'll probably have this one piece not attached, okay? But all I want you to do is just put everything all together, so one thing would be in here all together, okay? So when it's dry, all I have to do is just take the cover, put it on top, and place it on, okay? So when you clean up, you don't necessarily have to put it over there, but if you can, to blot it off, dry it off, perfect. Other than that, it goes on the drying rack. Okay? Alright, so these are all the supplies that you will need, okay, to do the mono printing.